Hey everyone, welcome back to Taking the Wheel Wednesdays. It's Melissa, and I am back today with the topic, what to expect in my first session. This is something that I know is very overwhelming for people. Coming to counseling and opening up your life, as I've said before, can be scary on one end, but for other people, it can kind of be a relief to finally know that you have someone to talk to and kind of just release all this stuff too. But typically counseling sessions are between 45 to 50 minutes. And it can be overwhelming to think about like, well, what does this look like and how does it work? So in the first session, a few different things can happen, and it just depends on the individual counselor that you are working with. But typically in the first session, there will be time to kind of go over any questions or concerns that might be present regarding the intake documents that you've completed. So typically you've signed a consent form, you signed notice of privacy practices, you might have signed several different authorizations, you might have even done a little bit of like an intake assessment to answer some preliminary questions so the counselor can be prepared for your first session. And so in that initial assessment, it may just be an open time to kind of go over any questions, concern, anything that's been on your mind leading up to the appointment time. And then after that, that's when you dive into the actual session. What I like to tell people is don't expect whatever problem that you brought, or the concern or the challenge that you're going through. Don't come with an expectation that it's going to be fixed in the first session and in that day. There is a full assessment that needs to be done. And so during that assessment, we typically call them biopsychosocial assessments because we assess pretty much all the major areas of your life. And so we're going to talk about the presenting concern, like what actually brought you into counseling. We talk about medical history. We talk about mental health history and very detailed kind of risk assessment. We talk about family history, upbringing. We talk about any work, any school experience, any future goals, your hopes for the future in the sessions. We talk about spirituality. We talk about a lot of different things in the assessment. And the reason for that is so the counselor can get to know you as best as possible and really understand the fullness of your life and what you're bringing to the session. Another thing that typically happens, maybe not in the first session, sometimes it spills over into the second session, depending on how long the sessions are. But in the first one or two sessions, there may even be creation of treatment goals. And those goals are for you to share with the counselor and kind of come up with an agreement on what the focus of the counseling sessions are going to be. What is it that you want to achieve, that you want to work on? And it's then our jobs to make sure that we're staying on top of helping you to achieve those goals. And so we check in on those goals. We make sure that everything that we're doing is focused back to the treatment goals. So that's typically what to expect. You get to learn your counselor's style and personality. They get to learn the most that they can about you by asking very full and well-rounded questions. Of course, you get the chance to talk about what has brought you into the counseling session and what's just been on your mind and bothering you, and also sharing what your hopes are and the goals that you want to see from counseling. But again, don't expect things to be fixed. Expect to start a relationship, because that's one of the most important things, is starting a relationship and building that relationship and that rapport with your counselor so that you can do this hard work or this meaningful work moving forward with them. If you have any questions about a first counseling session, if you have one coming up, if you had one before, and you just kind of want to ask a counselor about some things, you can comment, you can DM, you can reach me. So have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you all next week.